good evening, and welcome to another edition of Friday Night Hangout with the Craft Beer Nation. Tonight, we're talking about wheat beer. But before we get started, let me remind you that you can find us on various social media platforms. You can find us on all of our social media platforms just by visiting our website,
What?
craftbeernation.beer. Um, we're on Stitcher. Well, that's not social media, but we're on Instagram. We're on the Twitters. We're on the
The
Facebooks.
Instagrams,
So make sure to
the
check out our website.
Tinder. Wait,
No,
no,
we're
we're
not
not
on
on
Tinder.
Tinder. We're not. Oh, that's just me. Sorry.
Make sure to hit our website up, craftbeernation.beer. Check out, um, some of the blog articles that we have there. Links to our social media platforms, and also hit us up on iTunes, Stitcher, any podcast vehicle. Check out our show Pints and Quarts, and we have Mashing Out with the Beer Fairy Ashley Bauer, who's a certified cicerone, if I might add.
I'm certified, but not in being Cicerone.
Right.
Or at least I'm told I'm certified.
You are certifiably certified. What? Anyway,
Or
um,
that's what my other self says,
none,
anyways.
nonetheless, as I said, tonight we're talking about wheat beer. We have a very, very small panel tonight. We have
Select.
myself. I'm coming from Northern Virginia. We have Ricky Potts joining us from Arizona. How are you, Ricky?
Hey, good. And you're talking about all these social media sites, and I was using this app this past week. Have you heard of Periscope?
Yeah,
I do, but they're only on Apple, and I don't have
yeah.
Apple.
Well, I'm gonna Periscope some of this evening's conversation because it's cool.
Good.
Like it's a really cool app. So, but past that, to answer your question, before we joined, I was falling asleep,
Hmm.
and even though the sun's up, as you can see behind me, I made
It's
some coffee.
windy out there too.
Yeah, there was it rained today because it rains 6 days a year in Arizona, and there's a cold front moving in. So, yeah,
It's gonna get down to 92, huh?
no,
Oh my
it
goodness.
was like 57 when I left the office today. I was freezing.
And you let.
Anyway, Lola, how are you?
I am all right. You know what? Another tough work week, and I'm here. And I started pre-gaming around 6 o'clock, so yeah, I've already had a 10% ABV. So
Yeah, I think Tough Work Weeks has been the name of the game for everybody. So following the heels of a tough work week, for the last 3 weeks, we've had what I consider to be tough beer styles on the show.
uh,
So this is going to be no exception
Yeah.
for me. Well, actually, for all of us because we've been speaking ahead of the game. I want to go ahead and point out my new Trillium hat. That's
Oh,
right.
nice.
nice.
That is sharp.
That's right. So anyway, wheat beer. Um, Ricky, you're first on my screen. So, what are you drinking, sir?
So I didn't go shopping for wheat beers on
Hmm.
purpose because I assumed that I had a couple in the fridge, and I ended up having about 7 in the fridge. And I went shopping for beers after the gym and bought maybe 4 more. And one of them I'm really excited to be my beer number 2. But the first beer that I'm drinking is the Hitachino Bison. And Hitachino is a brewing company from Japan, and their beers are pretty pricey. Typically at Total Wine, they go for like $4, $5, $6 a bottle. And the liquor store that I frequent, maybe 2 weeks ago, I hadn't had this before, so I bought it because I hadn't had it. But he had 4 packs for $2, and I'm like, yes, I'll take that. And it's not, I mean, it's not great, but it's, I mean, the typical coriander kind of almost. It's a light coriander nose, and the flavor is tons of. I mean, they call them wheat beers because that's what you smell and taste. It's a ton of wheat flavor, and if you would close your eyes and like the aftertaste is almost like you just chewed on like a pile of straw. Like it's just very. It's not drying. You like it tastes like it wants to be drying, but it's crisp and speaking of being hot weather, it would be a good beer to drink in hot
Hmm.
weather.
Hmm.
And the quintessential wheat beer that we'll probably talk about more about their business model than the beer itself is Blue Moon. And Blue Moon's a good gateway beer to somebody that says, "Hey, I drink Bud Light and Coors Light. Well, let's drink craft beer." And even though Blue Moon's not technically craft beer, it's a different flavor. But this reminds me a lot of Blue Moon, and there's such a wide variety of beers that fall into this category of wheat beers.
Hmm.
And it's the next beer that I'm going to drink is, I don't know why I look at the fridge like it's going to come over to me, like, come here, beer.
Mine.
Yeah,
Mine
that'd
power.
be fun. The idea of the difference of styles and flavors that you can get in a wheat beer, and then beer, and we were talking about this before we went live. It's a Rauch beer, and I love smoked beers. And Randy, I know you're not a huge fan of smoked beers, but it'll be curious to be able to compare the two to see how a beer that's actually in that, I mean, almost its own category of beer. It's still a wheat beer, but it's a smoked beer. So it's a smoked wheat beer, and it'll be fun to see kind of what's next.
So I'll say this, like, I'm not that big of a wheat beer fan, but there's one wheat beer that I really could drink year round, and that's New Belgium Snapshot.
Oh yeah.
I really like that beer, and Ricky, you alluded earlier to the fact that that beer would be really good like in the summer. Um, I think so. I'm looking at the BJCP for the 2014 guidelines that just came out. The style for the American wheat beer style. And I'm just gonna read this off because obviously we ain't got nothing but time because there's nothing but three of us here. Um,
This wanted to be the most enthralling conversation we've had in months. You watch.
Well, this will be educational, especially for people who may be watching. We have two viewers right now, so if they didn't know anything, at least as far as the BJCP defines it for this particular style, here you go. The aroma is low to moderate grainy, bready, or doughy wheat character. A light to moderate malty sweetness is acceptable. Esters can be moderate to none. Although should reflect American yeast strains, banana is inappropriate. Hop aroma may be low to moderate and can have a citrusy, spicy, floral, or fruity character. So I guess the banana character may only be appropriate if it's a Hefeweizen and not necessarily an American wheat beer. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, Appearance usually pale yellow to gold. Clarity may range from brilliant to hazy, with yeast approximating the German Weissbier style of beer. Big, long-lasting white head. Flavor light to moderately strong, bready, doughy, or grainy wheat flavor, which can linger into the finish. May have a moderate malty sweetness or finish quite dry. Low to moderate hop bitterness, which sometimes lasts into the finish. Balance is usually even, but may be slightly bitter. Low to moderate hop profile. Esters can be moderate to none, but should not include banana. No clove phenols. May have a slight crispy finish. So obviously I'm thrown off right now.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah, well for me it's all because I didn't expect the American wheat beer style because when I think wheat beer, I think those bananas. I think Hefeweizen, but I guess Hefeweizen is a completely different style than than the American wheat beer. I guess it is if it's two different styles. Um, but yeah, that's I'm thrown.
See, and
Oh,
that's cool though. That like you would think like somebody that's a beer judge would be able to differentiate the two because like I would have always assumed that it's kind of all one big happy family. Like the banana is the first like because I you smell a bottle of Blue Moon. It's like you get all that. You get the coriander and the wheat, but
hmm
the coriander and the banana like, and even in this like I'm just conditioned to expect there to be a banana scent and flavor, and that's really cool to hear the official definition of the
Yep.
style.
Um, Mouthfeel medium, light to medium body, medium high to high carbonation. Slight creaminess is optional. Wheat beers sometimes have a soft, fluffy impression. Um, Overall impression: refreshing wheat beers can display more hop character and less yeast character than their German cousins. So I'm assuming that banana and clove is like I said earlier, that's an attribute for the Hefeweizen, not so much the American wheat. Clean fermentation character allows bready, doughy, or grainy wheat flavors to be complemented by hop flavor and bitterness rather than yeast qualities. So you're not supposed to get a lot of the yeastiness out of it. I mean, you can get, I guess, a little bit of yeastiness is acceptable, but this beer isn't yeast forward the way a Hefeweizen is. So that said, the beer that I'm drinking now puts me off style,
Yeah.
but but the beer that I had before it puts me on style. So I'm gonna talk about mine after you, Lola. Oh, by the way, the ABV, well, the IBUs on American wheat beer, 15 to 30, SRM 3 to 6, um, ABV 4 to 5.5. So
What is SRM for those users that are watching and learning?
I forgot what SRM stands for,
And I'm
but
one of those users watching that doesn't know.
but SRM is the color of the beer.
Okay.
So there's
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
It's really
So
cool.
really mellow?
Lighter.
Well, almost, Lola, almost.
Okay.
SRM stands for.
Standard reference model.
There you go. No,
Huh.
standard reference method.
Method, that's
Right.
what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read method and thought model. Yeah.
So
Very cool.
there's a range for every single beer style, and color. So if Ricky, if you brewed a beer and submitted it to a beer competition, that one of the criteria that they're gonna judge it on is the color of your beer, and does it fall within the range of the tolerances of that style.
So if it's green, huh?
This is a 2. Cool. All right.
Hey,
So
Chris.
Lola, what are you drinking?
What up, yo?
What's going
What's
on,
up, Chris?
Chris?
What up?
Lola, what drinketh thou?
Okay. Well, I wanted one I hadn't had before. I've had wheat beer before. It's not my favorite. It tends to be a little bland to me since I'm used to like imperial stouts now. But I got a Boulevard, and I can't find a name for it other than it says unfiltered wheat beer. So I don't think it actually has a name other than that.
Probably just unfiltered wheat would be my
Yeah,
guess.
let me check Untapped.
So what are your thoughts on it, Lola?
Well, it's what I thought. It's not a bad beer. It doesn't taste off. It doesn't taste strange or flat or anything. But it's a little boring to me. But that's just the wheat beer style. I don't, like you were saying, this doesn't have any banana. Maybe a little bit of coriander. So a little bit of like zestiness, just a tiny bit, but not enough to really interest me. I would like a little more zestiness. Other than that, it pretty much tastes like wheat. Like liquid bread, but not the kind that I would prefer.
Right.
Wheat
That-
wheat bread,
Mhm.
like
Um,
Wheaties.
how's the mouthfeel on that beer, Lola? Is it pretty thin? Is it medium?
It's not as thin as I would have thought. Luckily, the mouthfeel is a lot better than some other beers. Like the Pilsners we had the other week, they were so light, it just made me just want to eat a donut or something just to have some kind of sustenance. But
My kind of beer.
yeah, but this has a healthy mouthfeel. I can tell it's beer. I can tell it's there. It just, other than I wish the taste weren't quite so bland. Sorry,
Okay.
Boulevard.
So when Gil Gil is the one that put the calendar together,
And he's not
And
here.
he's not here.
and well, you still gotta give him credit. If you enjoyed Barley Wine Night, then thank Gil for that because he made the calendar.
Okay.
Fine.
So there's American wheat beer and then there's German wheat beer. So
What's the
maybe
difference?
I'm still on style. Well, so
Yeah.
I just read the BJCP description for American wheat beer, and they seem to make it a point to say that you should not be tasting banana and cloves in an American wheat beer.
Even if they use like cloves.
Well, then it wouldn't be the style. I guess that's the point.
Well, look, it's funny you guys had this style tonight because I came home and said I'm going to do one of my new quick videos, my reviews, and I did a American style wheat, and I'm not doing that beer now on this show, but it was an American style wheat with coriander and grapefruit peel, and I'm doing the review and I'm thinking, I'm waiting for this Hefty Weizen, and
it never shows up.
well, and then I looked, I couldn't find the ABV, and I finally dug it up, and it was like, it's 4.5, it's like a lawnmower beer, it's pretty, and it was a light mouthfeel, it didn't have that, I always like to say, like a true German-style wheat beer has that Metamucil look and kind of mouthfeel,
Yeah.
It's kind of like, giving you a little bit of, like, you're going to get your fiber in for the day.
You
There you go.
chewiness. Yeah.
Chewies, yeah, yeasties.
The American wheat beer, there, I don't think there's a there's a subcategory to American wheat beer. It is what it is. But under German wheat beer, you got Weissbier, you got Dunkel's Weissbier, you got Weizenbach. Well, yeah, so those three, right? So,
Would a wheat wine be a wheat beer?
probably no. Well, it's
Technically, I mean, based on
BJCP, no, because it blasts through the ABV range. That's in tolerance. I'm
so
sure
what would they make that? Like, what would that style be? A wheat wine would be.
it's a wheat wine.
Yeah, that's what it's got its own.
All by itself, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I mean, the wheat wine, it blasts. Like I said, the ABV is way off. I'm sure the SRM is way off. If the ABV is way off, that means the OG and the final gravity are going to be way off. The IBUs are probably going to be way off because wheat wines are way malty, so you got to put in a lot of hops to balance it out. So I mean, just based on those parameters alone, I mean, I guess technically you can call it a wheat beer because it's made with a lot of wheat, but that's the only commonality it probably has with beers in the wheat wine style. So.
And I do like wheat wines a lot. Like, it's just
it's underrated.
The
wheat wine. If people who love barley wines, there's no reason why you shouldn't love wheat wines.
And they're as good on a different level.
Yeah, it's barley wine's little brother. That's what I call it.
Yeah, I like that.
Little bro.
So,
I saw who had a wheat wine that I saw just yesterday. Black Market, maybe. It was $15 a bottle. I thought it was a little overpriced, but
Boulevard makes a really good one.
Theirs is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Smutty Nose makes one as well. The Smutty Nose one's pretty hard to find, and it's on my beer blog list. And I ended up finding a guy that had access to it, and it was $4.99 for a bomber. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me! And it's fantastic.
It was made by Lagunitas because that's their price range.
No,
Yeah.
and I don't know how that. I still, to this day, every time I buy one of their beers, I'm like, how do they make money? How does
Probably
this person make money?
volume, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you know, we were talking about California, about them not having water, and I started wondering about Lagunitas. Are they going to be able to keep up that $6 price point?
Well,
sure, they've got all of Lake Michigan now.
Oh, that's right. They did expand, didn't they?
Hell yeah, they just
Oh,
they got a big old tube just laying in the lake, and they're pulling that shit right out of Lake Michigan.
But also Lagunitas is in Petaluma, which is near San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't think that they're experiencing the same drought conditions as like Southern California.
Yeah.
That's probably right, because it tends to be more overcast up there, right?
They get a little bit of rain. It's not Seattle or Portland, but they get a little bit more rain.
So they should be all right.
Suck it out from the fog.
All right.
The Brewdogs did it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
You want to know what I did last week after our show? I had leftover barbecue, so at midnight I ate barbecue, drank beer, and watched Brewdogs.
Awesome.
When
Sounds
was
like a good night to me.
It was an awesome night.
This week or last week?
After she fell asleep on air last week.
No, it was 2 weeks ago. Sorry. Last week Clint made fun of me because he said he came in and he saw that y'all talking, but he couldn't hear anything, and then he saw me passed out and heard me snoring.
Well, as I say, this week was Grand Rapids, Michigan. It was Brewdogs episode on Wednesday, so it was actually pretty impressive. So maybe I was being a homer, I don't know, but I thought they were pretty impressed by the Canadian Breakfast Stout. So
that's a fantastic beer.
Yeah, I had it for the first time the other night, and it was stupid.
Yeah,
they tasted that. They started off, you know how they always, at the beginning of the show, they go to the brewer they're going to team up with, and they usually try to sample a couple of their beers. So the first thing they did was Founders All Day IPA, and they're no big deal there. And then the brewer goes, let me get you something else. And he just went right to the frickin' top of the ceiling and said, we brewed this with bourbon barrel aged maple syrup, blah, blah, blah. And the one guy that's got his head shaved with the beard's like, I love
James
maple syrup. Yeah,
James. Yeah, that's James, I think.
Yeah, he used to have long hair. But...
Yeah, and he's like, I love.
No, that's Martin.
syrup.
That's Martin.
Martin, and he's like, I love
I
maple
get them
syrup.
mixed up. I'm sorry.
And they poured a glass of that, and immediately they're like, I mean, literally, I've been watching all their shows this season, and I'm just like, they seemed a little over the top, like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing.
Think about it. If you've never had CBS and you get it, it's an
special.
experience.
It's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
It's special.
This
And I will
year's I
say
thought was a
that
little sweet, but
Yeah, I thought it was
So-
sweet, and it wasn't mind blowing. Like they made so few bottles of this, and it's the best beer ever. But it was special because I did it in a flight, and it was 2015 KBS, Breakfast Stout, Imperial Stout, and CBS. And I started with CBS, but I changed as it warmed up because I didn't just. I mean,
Right.
I let it sit for 2 hours, and room temperature flavor was hands down the best flavor. And I've heard, and I'm surprised, I guess, that they're not bottling the CBS this year because it's a part of the series where they're releasing all those bottles. So the Backstage series, they're starting to release those, and CBS is not one of them. But they did for Christmas last year. All of the Founders Associates got a bottle. So it was like, hey, thanks for being a Founders Associate. Here's a bottle of CBS. So they did bottle it. I don't know if bottles are going to show up, but 5 kegs showed up to Arizona, and
Nice.
one has been tapped thus far. The beer is it's silly good.
I wonder if they did it because they did their first initial release of that was 2011, maybe 2010, 2012, somewhere
I
around
thought it
there.
was 10. Yeah, it might have been
Yeah.
10. Yeah.
And I had 2 bottles of that. I drank one, did review. Second one I drank in a hangout one night and puked that night because I drank it all by myself real quick. And I was stupid, but
Yeah, it was over real quick.
yeah, I wonder if they brewed this knowing that Brewdogs was coming in. And they said, let's do a small batch. We'll release it out to some, breweries across the nation. We won't bottle it, but we'll brew it so we've got some for Brewdogs when they come in. Because they had it for Winter Beer Fest. We had it at Winter Beer Fest. We showed up at Founders, and they've got their chalkboard of all their beers.
Yeah.
And we walked in there probably, I don't know, God, it had to be like 12:31 a.m. on the Friday before the Michigan Winter Beer Fest. And I leaned over to the guy in front of me that was with. I said, "What are you ordering?" He goes, "CBS." And I'm like, "It's not fucking up there, dude." And he goes, "Look all the way on the chalkboard where they don't have the beer stuff. They've got a sticker that's probably like 4 inches by 3 inches. It just says CBS." And I said, "That?" And he goes, "Yes, that tells you that they have a secret tap. They're not. It's like almost like a speakeasy menu of beer way over the side."
You've let all the secrets out.
Oh, I don't care. And the funny thing was, we went to Winter Beer Fest the next day. The line for CBS was ungodly long, and we had it the night before, right from the mother's teat and the mother's ship. And so I said, all right. I gave my camera to a guy, and I said, "Follow me." And he goes, "Why?" And I go, "Just hit record and follow me." So I'm walking down the line. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, guys? What are you guys in line for?" And they're like, "We're in line for Founder CBS." I'm like, "That's awesome. Do you guys know it's on tap at the brewery, right?" "Fuck you, man! Get out of here!" And they're all like, "Tell me to shut up." I was like the asshole. I was like going down.
So you want to hear a funny story about you telling that story?
Hold on.
That's like
Let's rein this in. Let's rein this in real quick. Let's
I'm
get
sorry,
back
I'm sorry.
on style, and then
I'm sorry.
we'll get back to
There's only 4 of
CBS.
us.
So when the invitation was done, the way Gil did it, it's Wheatbier.
That's what I was wondering about.
So that said, I'm gonna go ahead and make the call and say that this is American and German style wheat beer.
That works.
So now I'm back on style.
You're on style.
What are you drinking? I didn't even see what you were drinking.
I am drinking Erdinger's Hefeweizen Dunkel because I could not go with a regular boring wheat beer.
You're so boring.
I had to do something with it, so I decided to go with the Dunkel. And I don't know what they do to get the wheat beer dark. Maybe they throw in some barley in with it, or some darker malts in it or something. I don't know, but this way is so much. I think it gives so much more complexities. Like, you don't necessarily get all the bananas and the clove esters that you normally get from a German Hefeweizen, but you do get like some nice almost dark fruit characters. You know what I'm saying? Almost raisin, almost plum, right? To go along with the lightness of the wheat.
I would think they roasted the wheat maybe a little bit to get the color and a little bit of that flavor, and then it's all about the yeast, strain they use.
I mean, you're probably right. I mean, if you can roast barley. So why? Yeah, you can roast wheat too.
Right, right,
and
right.
and so that has to add a totally different level of complexity to a wheat beer than just regular malted wheat or whatever. So
Hmm.
wait, can you malt wheat? I guess you can.
Yeah, I don't know how
That's
that
right.
works. You know, wheats.
Somebody's watching this and they're like, "Yes, you can malt wheat, you idiot," or either they're saying, "Of
Yeah.
course you can't malt wheat, you idiot." So one of the
Let
two,
us. Yeah, let us know.
right? Yeah, drop us a
Maybe
message
you
and
can
let us
malt
know,
wheat.
man.
So Oberon is like
Oh
super
boy.
popular in the Midwest, and not as much here. So I'm from Indiana originally, and it was
Right.
people would go bananas when that beer was released. And here it's like, oh yeah, Oberon just came in, like it's not a big deal. But in the Midwest, it's a huge deal. That's a wheat beer, and I mean, it's good. Like when
No,
I
it's not.
first, well, it used to be. It's not as good as it used to be.
It's. I've heard from locals that have lived here all their life. It has evolved over the years
Yeah.
to the bad side a little bit. Not bad, but like not as good as it used to be. Yes.
Right, so you're there, you're in the middle of that. So what's been kind of your like I mean like the hype that gets surrounded by the release of that and when it comes out and the seasonality behind it, like is it as big of a deal as I mean say 5 years ago is that it used to be like not people waiting in line to get it, but it was like when it came out it was a huge deal. Is it still?
Oh, it
Yeah.
still is.
Yo, yeah, it's like that. It's I think it's the gateway craft beer drinkers. It's the
Yeah.
macro beer drinkers that kind of dip their toe in the craft beer pool and taste some of that stuff because it's an easy beer to just kind of grab because it's not gonna jack your palate up if
Hmm.
you're used to drinking Coors Light, Bud Light all year long, and then all of a sudden summer comes or spring. It comes out at the beginning of spring, and they're like, yeah, I can drink this. It's not a big deal. But the biggest thing is, I think most people get hyped up because it's in Michigan, at least. It's because it's released right at the beginning of spring, and everyone gets hyped up. I took pictures of, excuse me, the day that. Why did I say excuse me? No,
I know. Like you
I was
care. You're
being
like,
polite all of
You're
a
not
sudden.
excuse me.
proper.
Excuse me, por
I
favor.
do that. I do like a real lady. Excuse me when I'm just spelled.
I
So
should I
excuse
should
me.
curtsy after I burp. Curtsy.
Pardon, pardon
Pardon
me.
moi. Anyways, I last year I did this. I told somebody I was going to set up a camera in our local big chain grocery store here and actually time lapse the Oberon as it's stacked up perfectly in the morning and try to let it run all day. But I don't have the equipment to do that. But that would be an interesting thing because last year I went in. I was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock after work. I go in. Oberon was released that day, and I go in the beer aisle, and it looked like the beer, like somebody threw like a stick of dynamite in the beer aisle because half half the beer aisle they decided to stack with Oberon, and most of it was gone. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because you can buy it. I can still go right. I just had a lady actually yesterday. I went to the beer store, and she walks in. She's walking around, elder lady, about I don't know about my age or maybe give or take 5-10 years. She walks over and she's like looking in. Now not on the Michigan side. I'm on like kind of over where the Stone and the kind of the California beers are. She walks over and she goes, "Do you know where Oberon is?" And I'm like, "Well, right over here. You can see it right over my hand. And you can see it on the shelf in cans." And she goes, "Well, I want the cold stuff." And I'm like, "Right underneath the Bell sign on the cooler." She goes, "Oh." And she walked back over there, and I walked around the other side with her, and I was like, "Yeah, it's right there." And she goes, "Oh, okay." And she was just going in there to get some Oberon. You could still buy it, so I don't know why people like
Yeah.
They
blow
get
the
caught.
hell up.
They get caught up in the Oberon wheat beer hype, man.
Excitement.
And I really it's not the people like I wouldn't say it's not the people watching CBN, but it's definitely the the root of those people that are buying it are the people that
It's
are Miller Lite and
it's people in Michigan after a ridiculously dumb cold winter, they need something to look forward to. And the return of Oberon every year is
That's it.
symbolic of the spring
right.
season, and they kind of get caught up. They lose themselves, and they do it year after year.
One of the maintenance guys that I work with came up. He was talking to me. His son is actually a brewer for a small brewery here in Michigan, and they brewed a Oberon clone. And he was talking to me. He's like, I actually prefer when Oberon used to be cloudy all the time. He goes, now it's so damn clear unless you just happen to get to the bottom of the keg. And I'm like, yeah, they're just kind of over processing it now. It used to be kind of raw, you know what I mean? And now I think they're starting to really finesse it, kind of like, just like the macrobreweries. They've got that system down so well, they can just mass produce it.
I have been doing a little research here on the difference because of like the German versus American, and this line really sticks out to me. So I'm on Wikipedia, and it says German wheat beers are called Weizen, which means wheat, in the western and northern regions, and Wheatbier, and the B in beer, as Gil didn't put it when he created this, is a funky bee, or I don't know how to pronounce that word, but Wheatbier, white beer or white in Bavaria. But then it says Hefeweizen, the prefix Hefe in German for yeast, is the name for unfiltered wheat beer, while Crystalweizen, crystal being German for crystal, is the exact same beer but filtered, and that's really cool. Like
the if you've never seen a Crystalweizen, it is clear.
Really, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I've had one. I would think maybe just and not realized it, and not had thought about it that way. But now I'm gonna look for one because that's really cool.
I think the popular one is either Erdinger or Aventinus. Or whoever it is that makes Aventina, Schneider,
Oh yeah, those guys.
Yeah, but yeah, the crystal one is it's like Bud Light clear.
Man, I'm gonna.
Das ist klar. All ist klar, der Kommissar.
So I'm reading up on the Dunkel's Weißbier, and it's I get cloves, but I don't get bananas. Right, so but bananas can be present, but I maybe it could be my palate. I'm not getting it. I've had 2 other IPAs tonight, so that could have something to do with it. But it says optionally a low to moderate vanilla character and or faint bubblegum notes may be present. I get a tiny bit of vanilla. I get definitely get the malt aroma that they say is present in this particular style. No hops at all. Light copper to mahogany brown in color.
That's what you got.
Yeah.
I think that's spot on right there with the mahogany.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this beer is probably, in my opinion, not that I've had so many, but I think this would probably be a really good representation of the Dunkel's Weißbier style. So, Lola, this should be readily available for you.
All right.
At least maybe not at Publix, but at Total Wine for sure.
Not at Publix, but
Publix. I always like to call Publix because how it's spelled. I like to call it Pubix.
Sometimes I accidentally when I'm texting. Oh God, I'm going to Pubix to get.
I'm gonna go to Pubix here.
So get this as I try to talk over y'all, because y'all talk.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
The characteristic ingredients for this style is at least 50% of the grist must be malted wheat. So, Chris, that answers our question. Mm-hmm. Malted wheat, although some versions use up to 70%, the remainder is usually Munich, Vienna, or dark caramel wheat malts, or Pilsner malt with color malt. A decoction mash is traditional, but infrequently used today. Weizen ales produce the typical spicy and fruity character, although extreme fermentation temperatures can affect the balance and produce off flavors. So, one thing, yes, you can malt wheat, and 2 things, some beers use up to 70% of malted wheat in this style. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Well, some of them probably use. I would assume they use almost 100% on like Hefes and stuff.
Yeah.
When you think, or
but yeah, I'd probably say so too.
Maybe.
Chris, what are you drinking?
I am drinking.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead, Lola.
I was just gonna say, so the malted wheat. You think maybe that's where the color comes from?
No, the color has to come from roasting.
Okay.
But in this style, they said that Munich, Vienna, or dark or caramel wheat malts. So you get caramel wheat malts from roasting it.
Oh, all right.
So roasted wheat malt. Chris?
I am drinking a local beer because not Oberon. So I'll just say that right now.
It would have been funny if you would have said
Noberon.
I had two to choose from. I wish I would have chose the other one now because I've had it already once. I've got like a 6-pack of it, but this one I hadn't had before, and I was like, this might actually taste pretty good. Earlier today, I had a wheat wine with blood orange in it, and I actually liked it a lot.
Who made it? Was that a local one for you?
Yeah, it was Shorts. They only distribute here in Michigan. They're hardcore on bringing the Michigan economy up, and will only distribute to Michigan. They won't go outside.
Is that Michigan's version of
Dogfish Head is what I usually say because they do some wacky shit. They're the ones that make like spruce tip beer. They make.
I'm talking about the guys up in Wisconsin, New Glarus.
Yeah.
No, these guys are like Dogfish Head. They actually did a collaboration with Dogfish Head. They made they make a carrot cake beer, a key lime pie beer, peanut butter and jelly beer. Yeah, they make a bunch of weird shit.
Nice. Okay.
Anyways, that's not who I'm drinking tonight. So I thought I would drink this because I thought it'd be interesting. I've only got one of them, and I wish I would have drank one before the show because now either my palate's wrecked or I'm not impressed. And this is a new brewery over on the southwest corner of Michigan as you're coming around the lake to go to Chicago, and it's called Tapestry. The guys are actually, here's the can, the guys are actually chemists, I think. So you get the tap for beers and an istry from chemistry.
Yeah,
this is
it's a nice can.
Yeah, it's a silver can with like a shrink wrap thing around it.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Orange, and it is a 5.7% ABV, 12.5 ABU, 4% SRM, Belgian Wheatbier, brewed with blood oranges, chamomile, and rose hips.
What the heck are rose hips?
Those, I believe, are the buds before it's a actual flower, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Like really early on.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they're still little.
It's like baby roses, I guess.
I used to date a girl named Rose, and she had some shit.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
That might be the most that I don't even know how to. Just carry on.
I just drank a Weyerbacher Mary Monks before this, so that's why I don't know if my palate is wrecked or not.
And weird, Lola used to date a monk, so it all ties together.
Really? Did she really? That's pretty brutal.
Lola, hold on.
Stop paying attention.
Hold on. Lola, you dated a monk?
No! I didn't know you were talking about me. I just heard somebody dated a monk. I was like, what do you know? They had a life.
Make sure when this link gets tweeted that the link, the tweet says Lola dated a monk with the link, and that's it.
I have no idea. Although some of my exes might have gone into the cloth, whatever they call it, after they dated me. It might have happened.
All right, Chris, go ahead.
I don't know if I can follow dating a monk up. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'd be like, sure, I'll date you. No sex, just keep brewing beer. You're living in the garage and you're just gonna brew like a mother chucker and just supply me beer.
I don't have to pay a mortgage and I don't have to worry about the power bill.
Hey, can you imagine having two 40-barrel fermenters sticking out the roof of your garage?
That would be awesome. I just do it and sell it all the time.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
So, anyways, 80 on the Dickhead Beer Advocate guys, and then there's no rating on Tapestry Mr. Orange on Rate Beer at all. This it's an unrated beer because it's a small brewery. They just started canning.
Do you rate on Rate Beer?
I don't rate on either one, but I tend to like Rate Beer because they seem to fall more in line on Rate Beer.
Mm-hmm.
Beer Advocate.
Same here.
Beer Advocate's kind of all over the place. Like, you'll be like, this beer's pretty damn good, and then you go on Rate Beer and it's like 42, and you're like,
I'm like, what? What were they drinking? Or they'll have 99%. You're like,
but I know that's where everybody goes. Rate Beer or Beer Advocate is like the epitome of rating beer.
It's the stone of beer.
But I feel like Rate Beer is a better user experience, but the content and the quality of the information is, in my opinion, a little bit better on Beer Advocate, maybe.
Okay, so I mean like comments and stuff.
No, I don't even. Not even the rating. Like I'm talking like the ABV and the information about the brewery and like the actual factual stuff about the beer.
Rate Beer usually gets that directly from the company's description, though.
Okay. Rate Beer. Well, in this case, Rate Beer has nothing. They have the beer, but they have no score, image, or anything. They've got the style, the location of the brewery, the obviously the brewery, what you should serve it in. They do have the ABV if you look down there. I wish they would make that bigger. You got to look at the fine print. And they do have some ratings, but there's no image or anything like that. But obviously Beer Advocate does, and it's in bigger print. I just don't like sometimes their score, and then the brothers are always like they got off a fucking crack pipe binge and said, "Oh, that's it. We're giving this Bourbon County. We're only going to give this year's Bourbon County a 72." And it's like, why?
I declare this a hit.
And one thing that I do like about Rate Beer, because I'm a fitness fanatic, is I love they do calories. Like the
I like that.
Okay, yeah, cool.
I don't like that they do calories.
Just to fall in line, this is with Ricky. This is a 171 calorie beer. Just saying.
That's for 12 ounces, though. How many ounces are in the?
No, this is a 16-ounce can.
Oh, so you got to do the math.
No, I would assume they'd put the calories for the can, or do you think they just rate it?
No, I think they just do
for 12 ounces.
Really? Yeah. You think that's the Food and Drug Information shit? I'm looking right now. No, that's a government warning. They don't break down the calories in the can, do they?
No, they never do.
Ciders legally are required to. I don't know why
that is. That.
Yeah, so if anytime you grab a woodchuck or Schilling cider or whatever on the side, it's got the nutrition.
Woodchuck.
I like woodchuck. I know I'm weird. I like it.
Are you on your second beer yet?
No.
I like the look of that beer.
It's very cloudy. It's got I do taste a little bit of orange and maybe some rose hip mix in there, but it's very subtle. Compared to the beer I just reviewed, which was that American wheat that had coriander and grapefruit peel. This is a little bit more flavorful, but not much. And at first when I was getting ready to crack this, I heard Lola talking about her beer and how she didn't like wheat beers and they didn't have flavor, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna stick my chest out because I'm gonna drink some blood orange and some freaking chamomile and some what else? Rose hips. And I'm like, I'm gonna show her up, and then I drink this, and I'm like, yeah, this is not
no flavor.
It's mild. It's a summer beer, easy drinking at the beach at
Sunday afternoon. It's for Sunday afternoon, not Friday night.
Right.
Yeah.
I do have a hopped up. I should go get that. I have a hopped up wheat out there that's called Starburst wheat.
That might be good.
And that'd be another thing. If anyone and Ricky probably knows this. Anybody has is it Bugu or what's the Three Floyds has a freaking wheat that's like you think you're drinking an IPA.
I don't know.
Brugu.
Gumball head.
Yeah, there you go.
Hands down there.
That one, if you poured that in a glass and gave it to somebody who didn't know Three Floyds and you handed it to them, they'd be like, "Oh, this is a nice IPA." You know, it's pretty hopped up.
Gumball head's good.
Yeah. One of their better.
Technically, Ricky, I'm on my second beer, because the first one was real bad. And I'm gonna say.
Let's talk about the second one.
So I'm so mad at my grocery store for having this beer on the shelf because it wasn't on the shelf. Now all of a sudden, boop, this beer pops up. So I assume it's a new release. Yeah, no, this beer was bottled in June of 2014, July of 2014.
Ooh, almost a year.
And it's RJ Rocker's Strawberry Bomber.
Well, that's why it sucks. It's a year old.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'll say this, RJ Rocker's also they make a wheat beer called Son of a Peach, and they make an imperial version called Peachy King, and I've said it before how I'm a big fan of if you put it on your bottle, I need to be able to taste it. And with Son of a Peach, you get the peach. It's not like cloying like how you know how Big Luscious was almost cloying with raspberry?
Mm-hmm.
Son of a Peach is not cloying. You just get really good peach flavor. So I know Son of a Peach is a solid beer, and I see they have a strawberry beer. Oh, I'm definitely gonna get this, and I
Sure.
get it. It poured really clear with with some yeast sediments kind of floating around in the beer, and I drink it, and I'm like, first of all, where's the strawberry? Second of all, why does it taste like this? And then thirdly, like, what is this aftertaste? And I'm gonna attribute that to the
The
fact that
bottling date.
it's almost a year old.
I hope so.
I've never had a strawberry beer that tasted any better than the last. Like
Yeah.
strawberry specifically.
Abita makes a good strawberry harvest lager, I think it is.
I don't know if let me
That's
see if I
pretty good.
have that. Yeah, you're right. They do make one.
So as you guys say this, you got me thinking because I forgot about one of my favorite beers. Now it's got a little bit, it's kind of like what we talked about Oberon, where it's drifted from the really good stuff to kind of more mass produced, and that is, and I don't know if Ricky can get this out there because it's on the West Coast. Well, I can get it here in Michigan actually. It is. I'm trying to pull up my. See if I can pull this up. It is this beer right here. If you can see that.
Oh yeah.
Apricot
Yeah.
Ale by Pyramid, and this beer, this beer used to make me just wet.
That looks
I was
really
gonna say be
nice.
careful with how you
Pyramid-
word that, but
Pyramid,
Creamy quartz.
Pyramid, back in the '90s, Pyramid, Wheatbier Brothers, and Red Hook were the three big brewers out on that northwest part of the United States. And Pyramid specifically and Wheatbier Brothers were all about wheat beers, like hardcore. They didn't even, I don't even think they made anything other than wheat beers. At least I couldn't find it. And this beer and Wheatbier Brothers makes a raspberry wheat they call Weisenberry. And Weisenberry, I hate to say this is going to be very chauvinistic, and I apologize, but back in the '90s, this is what I would drink it once in a while, but it was the girls would drink this. They would come like in Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia. They went to the bar. They would drink a craft beer, and it was always the Weisenberry by Wheatbier Brothers. It was their raspberry wheat, and it was just phenomenal. The best beer I had was this Apricot Ale. I brought a case of it home when I got discharged from the Air Force. It came back here to Michigan. I brought a case or two back, and I was like, this is the golden pot. You do not drink from this case unless some shit is happening at my house. And I love this beer. Now I can get it out here, and it's not quite as good, but it's, I mean, you could nowadays with craft beer, you could probably drink, I mean, it's 5.1. You could drink a 6-pack of this, all Saturday afternoon, and just, it's got that apricot, peachy, kind of orangey flavor. It's really, really good.
And I was gonna say earlier when Ricky was, I think wheat beers I think are almost more quintessential as a summer beer than say like the beers that are intentionally brewed to be session beers now, because I know when I first started drinking session beers, one of the things that really turned me off was the beer was so thin, it was so watery, had no body, and that bothered me. But if you get a wheat beer, I mean, even though it's not going to be any higher than say 5.5%, and they tend, in my opinion, to have more body than like say a session IPA.
Yeah, 100%.
And equally refreshing on a hot summer day.
Well, I don't know if they don't get enough sugar from the wheat malt, or the wheat. I shouldn't say wheat malt, the wheat grain. They don't get enough sugar, so usually the ABV in those is lower. Oh, look who showed up, Mr. BIER himself.
Mr. Beer.
We're gonna make them drink wheat beers. But I'm not gonna show up.
We spelled beer in Brazil BIER.
Why are you speaking with a German accent?
Yeah, I was like,
I don't know. I'm so bad with accents.
So,
Ich spreche beer.
Ricky, talk about your second beer, Ricky.
Yeah, so real quick to the Pyramid, Chris, the Pyramid story. So the guy that started Pyramid from the ground up, he retired from Pyramid and was bored 6 months later, moved to Phoenix and has a brewing company in Phoenix, and he gets a ton of inspiration from both, like you said, wheat beers, but fruit. So he's always brewing stuff. He's the nicest guy in the world, and it's funny because you'll go on like on a Saturday morning, and he's behind the bar pouring pints. Like,
Nice.
he's really cool. So, and then my second beer. So I know that Randy doesn't like Rauch beers, but somebody pronounce that because I can't.
Schilingala. Rauch beer.
Pretty sure that was perfect and teamwork. Hashtag teamwork.
Schilingala.
Gil
Yeah, well,
has
it's-
German family members.
It is
right?
freaking delicious.
Hashtag.
Gil's a linguist, man. I'm telling you, that
You
guy.
just spit all over the
Hold on, wait. Gil, say it one more time. How do you say it?
It's Schilingala.
See, I believe you. You could be lying right now. I believe you.
I believe
I'm
you.
I'm buying
All day
that.
long, I believe
I'm
you.
buying.
The
I'm
only
buying the hell
reason,
out of that.
the only reason I know is that when we did the smoked beer one time, I mean my coworker is from Germany, and remember I have her recording it on my phone, and I tried to play on a Friday night hangout.
Good.
Bullshit. I swear you just said flush the toilet safely. I swear that's what you just said.
That might have been what he said.
Yeah, don't use your hand to flush the toilet.
Well, in 140 characters or less, it smells and tastes like liquid smoke. It is freaking delicious.
Which one you
I
have?
like that.
You had the green label one.
Yeah, the Weizen.
Do you get any wheat characters, Ricky?
Oh, none. It is straight carbonated smoke juice. And I love it.
Good, I like that.
It really
Oh,
is
my Lord.
carbonated smoke juice. It tastes
What does
like
it taste? Oh, it tastes like beer. That's a good start.
Smoke juice, isn't that what I vape with?
Ricky, that was a good one. Carbonated smoke gravy.
even
Smoke
better.
Gil, what are you drinking, man?
I'm drinking Ithaca Beer Company apricot wheat.
No, we just
Okay, talking about wheat, apricot.
We just got through talking about apricot beer. What do you think?
I like that beer. It's very light, very there's a sweetness to it. I didn't open this one. I only know that I like it because I buy them all the time. But it's also a good beer too. A lot of my friends don't like hoppy beers yet. They're kind of slowly getting to the craft beer, and this beer is a really good beer too. So I don't know. It's nice. I think the apricot comes nicely through it. It's a little bit sweet, but it's not overly sweet. And a lot of those fruit beers are. And you get a lot of the wheat, so you get that taste. But it's very clean. A lot of wheat beers sometimes they're not filtered, so you get a little more hazy. But this is a nice, clean taste beer.
So
you know what they say about the haziness? It puts hair in your chest, Gil.
Yeah.
So Gil,
He's like, what?
Gil, that beer aligns with the American wheat style, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we spent the first part of the show trying to figure out, like, wait, are we doing American wheat, or is this like?
It's like wheat in general.
Because I read the description for American wheat, and they were like adamant about no banana, no clove esters, right? And me and Ricky were kind of like, wait, what? We were like totally confused. Because like, I thought that's what you're supposed to get in wheat beers, but no, that's what you get in German wheat beers.
Well, it's because the American wheat, which is American wheat pale ale, actually, right? They are more like the Hefes, like the Hefenweiss kind of. So they don't have a lot of that banana taste, like you said.
What about? And so I'll pose this question that I did earlier. What about wheat wines? Is that considered tonight?
I guess
He's like,
at 2 minutes to 10, anything is worth. Yeah, it's
Well,
just
no,
the
Chris,
American.
wheat wine is its own style according to BJCP.
I know, but he just said wheat in general. So if it has the word wheat in it,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
I think the American wheat doesn't have as much I don't know how to pronounce it. Diacetyl, yeah. So you don't have as much, like German's beer have a lot of that
And that's where the banana comes from, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Chris, category, style category, whatever, number 22 according to the 2014 guidelines. You got 22, which is strong American ale, and then 22A is double IPA, 22B is American strong ale, 22C is American barley wine, and 22D is
You're looking at is that the
2014.
215?
2014.
D is wheat wine.
Wheat wine, yeah.
What's a barrel aged wheat wine? That's just fucking
22D A, 22D1.
That's the 2030 guideline.
22 double D.
22D Roman numeral 1, section 3, article 1, paragraph 7.
That's an invisible ink.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
the final BJCP just came out 2 weeks ago.
2015.
Yeah.
I saw it halfway through the year.
Do they put it out every year?
What they put up? No, it's not very. Last year they just did a draft for it, and they just finalized it. Just the final came out just a couple weeks ago. Because the last time was 2008,
wasn't it?
Yeah. So if someone's doing a competition, they're going to go by the 2015 guidelines now?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some new categories. They broke a couple categories too.
So, I am thoroughly surprised we got to an hour.
I am
we
too.
can keep
I'm
going
pretty
too.
impressed.
I'm very pleased with
Because
tonight.
I was
Beers are awesome, man. What are you talking about?
no, because it started out with me, Ricky, and Lola.
Oh.
We were like, oh, this is going to be a
Very
20-minute conversation.
So
And we'd already talked about it before we went on the air.
Randy pulled the emergency chute and said, "Fuck it, I'm inviting Chris."
Let's do it. Let's button up this
I'm like, I
party.
get an invite. I'm like, it's 15 minutes in. All right, they must be starving Marvin. So
no, I sent you an invite at like 9:45. I don't know why you didn't get it.
Oh, when did I get it? I'm looking right now.
Chris said he wants an invite. I was like, I sent him one already. But
48
Oh,
minutes
shit.
ago, I got an invite.
So should we wrap it up since you're making hours so I can drink something else?
Yes. So next week, this style we're gonna talk about it's like box, not what Floyd Mayweather did not do.
Yeah, I was going to say, you
I
can't call
got
that
a
box.
No, but we're talking about box, BOCKS. So
Love box.
that should be interesting. Could get a doppelbock. That's gonna be
Yeah.
I don't wanna-
That's one of my. I love box.
Not gonna
Yeah,
reveal
me
my
too.
cards just yet. I'm gonna save some. There's no people guessing.
So next year will be box. Next year.
Next year?
Next year.
What
Next week
year?
will be box, and then the week after that, I'm sure Chris will be joining us again because we'll be doing strong ales, And-
love strawberries.
that could end up being another barley wine night.
That's gonna be a great.
This could be a barley wine night. It could be a wheat wine night. It could be an American strong ale night. So who knows? I mean, we should
Could be Miller Light night after I've worked out at the gym because I feel strong. You know, it's like.
So be sure to join us. First of all, thank you for joining us tonight. The one viewer that we still have. God bless you for
Thank you
sticking
for
with us
hanging
through all
on. He's
this.
probably asleep, or she. They're probably asleep.
And so be sure to join us next week when we talk about box. So, cheers.
Cheers, guys.